there's something caught in the conveyor. I'm gonna go get it.
No, hey, remember, we're not supposed to reach over the conveyor belt.
Well, we can't stop the line. We won't make our production goals.
You know, I heard that a woman on second shift, she got her sleeve caught on a pinch point on the conveyor belt and broke her wrist.
Well, I do this all the time. It'll only take a few seconds.
I'm gonna go get the supervisor.
Then you can be responsible for shutting down the line.
Have you ever worried about slowing production to fix a dangerous situation? Conveyor systems save time and effort by moving many materials at once, some of which may be heavy. Many conveyors will have size and weight limits as well. Whether you work around an overhead conveyor system or a ground-level conveyor system, you should treat these machines with respect, care, and caution. Conveyor belts can cause serious accidents in the workplace. A moving conveyor belt can be a dangerous piece of machinery. You might save a few seconds by going over or under the conveyor system where you're not supposed to, but you could trip and fall or get caught in part of the machinery. Anytime you work near a conveyor belt, make sure that you are wearing the proper PPE and clothes that fit right. Keep your eyes open for anything heavy that could fall from a conveyor above. Pinch points are places along the conveyor belt that are especially dangerous for injuries. This is where one conveyor meets another. The worst conveyor belt injuries usually happen around pinch points. If the conveyor belt ever jams, stop it as soon as it is safe to do so. Then follow your company's procedures, including notifying your supervisor. During maintenance, you may see the conveyor belt turned on so that your maintenance team can troubleshoot the problem. This can only be done if the worker is not putting themselves in danger. Stay aware as they fix the issue because clothing or tools could still get caught in the system. During sanitation, you may also see the conveyor belts continuing to move. This is so that everything can be cleaned properly. Because the belts are still moving during sanitation, you should know that hoses or clothing can get caught in the machinery if they are not well managed. Also, it's possible for someone to slip if trying to climb on a conveyor belt. Remember, conveyor belts can save you a lot of effort, but only if you treat them in a safe and cautious manner. Take a look at the situation and think about what you should do.
Help! My sleeve is caught in the conveyor belt!
What is the first thing you should do if you see someone get caught in the conveyor belt? Tell your supervisor. Pull the person out of the conveyor belt. Cut their sleeve off. Stop the conveyor belt. Pinch points are especially dangerous places on the conveyor belt where one conveyor moves to another. Many conveyor belt accidents happen at pinch points. If a conveyor belt gets jammed or someone gets caught in the machinery, then you should stop it as soon as it is safe to do so. Why are pinch points dangerous? It's easy to get a sleeve or hand caught in the gap. They are difficult to maintain. They are slippery. Pinch points are not dangerous. Pinch points require the most caution because they are the most dangerous places on a conveyor belt. It's easy to get a sleeve or hand caught in them. Staying safe around conveyor belts means following the rules and keeping an eye out for danger. Only walk under conveyor belts at designated places. And never place your hands where you're not supposed to, like around pinch points. And remember, if something gets jammed in the conveyor belt, stop it as soon as it's safe to do so. Then notify your supervisor and follow any other procedures your company has in place.
Where you going?
I heard they got donuts in the break room.
You can't go under that conveyor belt.
This is our shortcut. If we can get through, we can be first in line for the donuts.
You're gonna get hurt crawling under there.
If we don't hurry, we won't get the good donuts. Come on.
Okay, fine.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for trying to take a shortcut? Conveyor belts save a lot of time and effort, but they can also cause serious injury if you don't follow safety procedures. You should never go under or over a conveyor belt unless it's through a company-approved passage. If you go under a conveyor belt, something might get caught in the machinery, like your hair, clothing, or PPE. It's also possible that something heavy could fall off the conveyor belt and onto you. If you go over the belt or walk on the belt, you could slip and fall. You could also get your shoe caught, or you could hit your head. These shortcuts could cause terrible injuries. If you see someone performing maintenance on the conveyor belt, they should perform lockout-tagout procedures to keep the conveyor from starting up unexpectedly. You should also use the two-person rule whenever cleaning or maintenance procedures are taking place. This means that there are two people performing the work who know how to use the conveyor emergency stop in case of a problem. If using the two-person rule, it may be required that both individuals have their own lockout-tagout device. Anytime you work near a conveyor belt, make sure that you are wearing the proper PPE and clothes that fit right. If any PPE or clothing is too loose, it could easily get caught in the machinery. If you are required to wear any kind of lanyard, it should be breakaway. This is also one reason why jewelry is not allowed in facilities. Jewelry can easily get caught in a machine. Finally, remember to always inspect a conveyor before you use it. If something seems damaged, broken, or just plain wrong, tell your supervisor immediately. Look at this image and think about what went wrong. What do you think went wrong in this picture? His shoes weren't secure. His clothes were too loose. He should not have been walking on a conveyor belt. Something fell from above. You should avoid walking over or under a conveyor belt, unless there's a company-approved passage. If you walk on top of a conveyor belt, you could easily slip and fall. If you walk under, you could hit your head. Something could fall on you or your clothing might get caught in the machinery. Why should you wear properly fitted clothing when working around conveyor belts? Loose clothes make it harder to stop the line. Loose clothes can get caught in machinery. Loose clothes can drop lint on the conveyor belt. Loose clothes are a fire hazard. When working around conveyor belts, your clothing should be properly fitted and fastened. If it is too loose, it could easily get caught in a machine. Safety practices around conveyor belts can save you or your coworkers from serious injury. Always wear properly fitted clothes when working around conveyor belts. Don't crawl under or walk over belts unless you're approved to do so. If you see someone performing maintenance or sanitation, they should be following best safety practices like lockout-tagout. Never use a conveyor belt that looks damaged or broken. And if you see something that looks wrong, notify your supervisor immediately. Do you need to be aware of conveyor systems that are above you? Can your clothing get caught when going underneath conveyors? Is it okay to wear loose clothing when working around conveyors? Should you walk on the conveyor? Should you use a damaged conveyor?